Hey, good evening, you two. This is Spirit Journey, and I made mention of in a video I did yesterday on a woman named Dolenzal. She's the former president of the Spokane, Washington NAACP branch, and I was curious. I was really confused about the story, and I wanted to find out well how it actually started. Because each time in exploring the story, it's like little bits and pieces I would get, and because initially I just thought she was just a light skinned woman, and someone didn't like her, or whatever, and somehow her parents uh, got involved. I mean, just so many things that I might have, that I initially thought. And I went through as many videos I could find on the story. It's like the more I watched about her, the more confused I got about her. So I was just looking at some videos of a moment ago to try to find out, well, where did the story begin? And um, one of the videos I saw um, indicated that, how to go now? Oh, she was making reports in the area where she lived that someone was putting um, like hate mail to her, and that it had a particular address, excuse me, and but it didn't have any stamp, any postage on it. And so, well, how did it get in there? And so this was an important question. And it turns out that when something like that happens in real life, bias crime, someone sending hate mail, that the authorities get involved. And so she was under like surveillance, trying to find out what's going on. But she also mentioned that she lived in another region. I think she might have lived in a different state, and it happened there. She said even, and now it's happening to her in the state of Washington. So that's why she was really um, being observed by the authorities, and because they said that her earlier claims, it wasn't resolved. It was questionable. They didn't, you know, it was just like left hanging. The past complaints that she made, and so in Spokane, Washington, um, you had a news report. I guess the news would find out about things, with authorities and hate crimes that I guess as a reporter, he has to um, question, well, is hate crimes being um, really increasing in their town? And so I guess he just wanted to find out what's going on. And so when he found out that she also made complaints in another state regarding bias crimes, he went on investigating, and he said that he found her that she had like what do you call it, social media. I think it was Facebook, and she said on Facebook that this particular man was her father, and so I mean I don't know why that would initially be an issue. I mean, it was a dark-skinned black man. And again, I know people have one dark-skinned parent, and then the other one, let's say, a very light-skinned, and the children could be color. I've seen that, but his antenna was up. This reporter, and he said that just a lot of things just didn't add up, and um, so he was going to report report his findings or something, put in the newspaper. I guess he's a newspaper reporter, and then he was going to print, his investigation, but the day before it was to be put in print, this other news reporter, I think Channel 4 News of that town, um, wanted to talk to her, and the interview it's a little over 8 minutes long, and the different versions of that particular interview by Channel 4 News of that Washington town, and it has almost 2 million hits. Um, it was posted 5 days ago, and it's almost 2 million hits, and it was very telling, that video. And in the beginning of the video, the news reporter is inquiring about the mail stuff, the hate crime, bias crime, and initially it sounded very odd, how he was questioning her, because he says at one point, what if that something about there was no postage on the mail, and what if how would you answer someone who might ask you if if you might have even put the mail in there, and she responds, "Oh, how could you say that?" People who would even think that, being that I have a black child, and how she worded that, I feel if she's black, then the kids would be black. So I thought that was odd. And then he then asked her something about her father not being, there was some ribbon cutting ceremony, and she said that her father wasn't able to make it. And then the reporter pulls out a photo and says, is this your dad or is your father? And she smiles and she's, yeah, that's my dad. Then he says in a very questionable voice, like, yeah, he's your father? And I was surprised when I heard the interview for the first time. And she says, what are you getting at? I just said that he's my dad. And then he says, well, so you're an African American. And then she says, I don't know what that means. I don't know what you mean by that. And then she's like, biting her lip, and she looked nervous. And then he's about to ask her, also, are both your parents, are your parents really white? And then she storms off the set, I mean the camera, and so it went viral, that particular video. And there is another video of the reporter who was doing the interview, the investigation of her, the um, person who had the newspaper who's investigating her, and he's finding all these documents and photos, and that particular newspaper reporter somehow found out about her real parents. So it was that reporter that did notify her real parents, and so it wasn't that the parents were outing her, their daughter, but the newspaper reporter had found out about her biological parents and asked to talk to her. And I guess once that news came out, then the parents were interviewed on television, you know. So so it wasn't that the parents just was being, you know, vindictive against their daughter. It wasn't something that they initiated, but the investigation um, on Dolenzal um, led to her real parents. So, you know, the reason why I'm posting this video was that it's just a bizarre story, and she could be any race that she wants to be, but she doesn't have a right to um, say someone is a parent and is not. And I was concerned more about what what really got me really thinking about her actions was to possibly put mail in her mailbox and a noose, you know, a lynching thing in her on her property, and that's falsifying, you know, that is not good. Um, it it was setting up an an environment or an atmosphere in the community that she's living in, and making people, you know, race issues are very sensitive, and we already, you know, people already on edge with the crimes that have been happening. Um, you know, what they call police brutality against black people, and then to put something like this out and saying that someone is giving you hate mail, and you might be the one that's actually putting in there. So that I find very problematic. And I mean, she was doing well. She had 4 positions in her town, and so why would she even feel that she needs to do that? And then I started thinking. Um, I actually started to think. I mean, I'm just learning this now, but I'm really starting to think: is she being how do you say? Is she working undercover? Is she working for the government? Is she, you know, is she working for the FBI or the CIA, and they had her infiltrate the NAACP and those other 3 positions, and to do this? I mean, someone, she's being motivated for something. And again, initially I thought she was just, you know, people just hating on her, but I'm really starting to wonder, you know, what her real motive was. You know, when you plant false evidence, and in the United States, it's not the first time that a white woman had falsified their identity, or that a crime had happened and they blamed it on a black person. I'm thinking about the woman who had a white woman who had children, and she um, blamed a black man for some. I think that she ran her car in this water and the kids drowned, and but it was her all along. And she was a married woman. The husband had nothing to do with it, and it turned out that she lied, and she had even had them draw a composite of the alleged attacker, and it looked like a phony picture. It didn't look like a composite of a real person who existed, and the story came out. So I wow, it it's just, I think, very problematic. And it, I'm thinking that maybe it's something deeper to the story, and she could be a plant. And as I said in my video I did yesterday on her, that you know, with the NAACP having to do their homework and really screening who is working for them, and but hearing this story, how it actually broke out, that she was being investigated because she had two claims, in two different states of a bias crime, and wow. Now, and as she said in that video, oh, why would I do such a thing? I have children. I don't want to expose my kids. But her kids are being exposed. And yeah, and again, she only has one child. She doesn't have two children. She lied about also that her adopted brother is her son. So it's really leaving a bad taste in my mouth. Again, anyone could, if someone has a liking to a particular ethnic group and you want to wear different ethnic clothing and stuff like that, I have no problem with that. But to plant evidence, I mean, alleged things, and pretend that there's a bias crime, I am very upset by that. And she should apologize if that's what the case was, and to the community that she's supposed to be serving. So that's all I really wanted to say, and how this relates to my spirit journey. As I mentioned yesterday, um, we really have to be true to ourselves and the people that we represent. Um, if you don't have integrity, it's it's a real issue. So that's all my thoughts are, and um, please feel free to comment below, to subscribe, or even share my video, and to give me a thumbs up. So peace and joy to you all. Bye bye.